25 Free Quest 2 Games Chapter 2. If you've missed any of my Free Quest 2 game videos on TikTok, this is the video to watch. This is also my second compilation of 25 Free Quest 2 games, so if you haven't seen the first one already, go check it out. Link will be in the description. Let's get to it. Number 1, VR Hockey Reborn. This VR hockey game can be single player or multiplayer. It has several different training exercises you can go through, from trying to score on an AI goalie to becoming the goalie yourself. And of course, you can just mess around with your friends in a 1v1 or 2v2 game. The game mechanics themselves and the multiplayer work good, the audio is spot on, and this is probably one of the better free hockey games you'll find on the Quest 2. Number 2, Tiny Castles. In this hand-tracking game, you play as a god whose goal is to help the citizens and make your way through the temple. There's 4 temples and a sandbox mode that you can either use hand-tracking or controllers in, and you can find the game on the Oculus Quest 2 store. Number 3 is a multiplayer PvP shooter with a twist. You have to grapple across towers in order to take down your enemies. There's 3 different game modes that you can play: Elimination, Deathmatch, and Capture the Tower. The name of the game is Tower Tag, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 4 is an AR game that uses the Quest 2's pass-through feature. In this game, you can either play a piano digitally with friends or solo, or you can pair up the pass-through feature with certain keyboards that will then display keys that you're supposed to play as some kind of training feature. This is a super cool use of the pass-through feature, and I can't wait to see more games like this. The name of the game is Piano Vision, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 5 is basically Mario Kart in VR. The free version is single player, but the paid version is multiplayer. In this racing game, there are power-ups laid around the map to help you with the race, and 3 different point of views that you can race from to help with motion sickness. You have to actually grab the steering wheel in order to drive, and there's a bunch of different achievements to unlock. The name of the game is Touring Karts, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 6 is pretty straightforward. It's volleyball in VR. The characters are these little eggs, and they sound like minions. It even has some training exercises. The name of the game is Volleyball Demo, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 7 is a multiplayer turtle racing game where you have to race other players to the safe zones. If you're the last to the safe zone, you get eliminated, and then you're a bad guy trying to slow down and stop the other players from getting to the safe zones. The swimming mechanic is super interesting, and you can even go on land. The name of the game is Flip Out, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 8 is a Western multiplayer shooter, and I honestly love the build of this game. It's got a hub, it's got your house, it's got a gun shop, and of course maps to play on. The aiming mechanics are like Population 1, where it has a hipfire mode, and there are even horses that you can use and battle on. The name of the game is Spark, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 9 is next, but first I want to take a quick break for this video's sponsor, Bobo. Specifically Bobo's M2 Plus strap. Now, even though this is a sponsored ad, this is actually the head strap I use every day, so it's super easy to say good things about it. This head strap is one of the most adjustable head straps I've used. It can be adjusted at the back of your head, the middle of your head, and even where the headset touches your face. This is nice because not everybody's head is the same shape. My favorite part about this headset is it comes with 2 magnetic batteries and a charging stand. This means you can play and charge with one while the other one's charging on the dock, and then when that one dies, you can just switch them. Not to mention these batteries actually charge your headset while using it instead of let it die slower like some other batteries I've used. If you're interested in this head strap, there'll be a link in the description. This is the one I use every day, so I truly recommend it. Alright, number 9 is a multiplayer hoverboard racing game with an interesting mechanic where you have to lean forward in order to accelerate. You can either race friends or go into a free roam park. You can also customize your character and board. Shout out to the devs, they actually put my logo in the game, which is super cool. The name of the game is Out of Time Demo, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 10 is a multiplayer tank game. It's free because it's in beta, but that might not last forever. You fight against other players in a team deathmatch style with your tank that's equipped with a cannon, bomb, slingshot, and a minimap. The name of the game is World War II's Tank VR Beta, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 11 is one of the better ones on this list. It's a multiplayer bow PvP game. You have several different types of bows and ammo that you can use, as well as a samurai sword for melee. The game has several different game modes you can play: team deathmatch, objective-based game modes, and even a small battle royale. The movement in this game is super interesting. You use your bow to slingshot across the map. The name of the game is High Bow, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 12 is a creative, physics-based sandbox where you can spawn in guns, swords, weapons, dummies. The physics are good, but the ability to create things with motors, buttons, wheels is where this game shines. The game also has a built-in third-person camera, which is something you don't see in a whole lot of Quest 2 games. The name of the game is Finn, and it can be found on SideQuest. Number 13 is a multiplayer Western 1v1 dueling game. You're tossed into a map with another player where all you have is revolvers and the last person standing wins. One of the maps is a moving train, which I thought was super cool. The name of the game is Waryards Beta, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 14 is honestly one of the worst games on this list. It's a mix between ice skating and the old Tron video game. In order to accelerate, you move your head and hands in an ice skating motion, as the game calls it. Cool concept, I just wish it worked a little better and had multiplayer. The name of the game is Skater, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 15 is actually a game within a game. If you didn't know, this is VR chat, and you can actually play Fall Guys in it. Now, there's no actual collision between players, but the person who created the map did a great job. The obstacles work great, and just like in real Fall Guys, you go through different maps until you have someone who wins. To get to this, all you have to do is open VR chat, go to your worlds page, and search up Fall Guys. Alright, number 16 and 17 are pretty similar. They both replicate rage rooms in VR. Number 16 has slightly better graphics and a leaderboard where you can compare yourself to others, and the name of it is Rage Room VR, and it can be found on AppLab. 17, even though it doesn't have as good graphics or a leaderboard, I still like it better. The destruction mechanics are way better, and it has several different maps to choose from. The name of the game on your screen now is Smashy Smashy VR, and it can also be found on AppLab. Number 18 might be my favorite on this list. It's a zombie wave shooter, and in some ways similar to Call of Duty Zombies. You play as a prisoner who's released into an arena with zombies as some kind of weird game show. It's kind of funny because you can hear the commentator talking about you the whole time you're fighting zombies. The reason I say it's like Call of Duty Zombies is because it has perks, different guns you can buy, and a weapon upgrade system similar to a Pack-a-Punch. The name of the game is Gladiatus, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 19 is pretty straightforward. It's a free multiplayer bowling game on the Quest 2. You can play single player, multiplayer, ranked, or casual, and it even has a 100 pin mode. There's even a screen where you can use YouTube to listen to music or watch your favorite YouTubers' videos like you're doing right now. Hit the subscribe button. The name of number 19 is Unlimited Bowling, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 20 is a single player adventure game where you build your own gun and make your way through procedurally generated levels. I had way more fun with this one than I was expecting. The levels get harder the further you make it through. The name of the game is Pioneer Endless Journey, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 21 is another single-player adventure game that kind of reminds me of a Minecraft story mode. Now, there is a full version of the game, but right now I'm covering the free beta, which still has a lot to offer. There are quests to complete and dungeons to explore, which are generated randomly, so you'll never have the same experience twice. It even has mods. The name of the game is Ancient Dungeon Beta, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 22 is one of the better games on this list. It's a multiplayer PvP shooter with some interesting movement mechanics. You swing your arms to move like Gorilla Tag, but you can actually do this in mid-air to fly. There's smoke bombs, jetpacks, a boxing glove, melee weapon, and 5 different guns to choose from. The name of the game is Wadality, and it can be found on AppLab. We have 3 more still, but if you're having any trouble finding any of these games, join the Discord and tag me or one of the mods, and we'll be happy to help you. There'll be an invite link to the Discord in the description. Also, if you're enjoying the video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. There's plenty more to come. Alright, number 23 kind of reminds me of Subway Surfers or Temple Run in VR. This is another game that has a full version and a free version. Right now I'm covering the free early access. In this game, you're constantly running through an alleyway where you try to dodge, shoot, and slash objects out of your way. The longer you last, the faster the game gets. The name of the game is Brisk Square Early Access, and it can be found on AppLab. Number 24 is a multiplayer horror game, another game inside of VRChat. In this game, you're trying to find keys and escape a mansion, all while being chased by a monster. The name of this VRChat world is Haunted Asylum. And finally, number 25 is a multiplayer pool game. The game's got pretty decent graphics. You can play a private session, a 1v1 against a random, or against an AI. The name of the game is Sparkball Pool, and it can be found on AppLab. See ya.